Hi, today I will be taking a look at this ZOSI security camera. It has been sent to me for free, so you should consider this a paid product demonstration, even though the opinions are my own. We will be taking a look at what's inside the box, the application itself, and how the camera works. Let's start by looking at the specifications of the camera. The model number is C186 and it's 5 megapixels. I guess that's enough. We have seen plenty of 8 and 12 megapixels cameras. But what's more interesting is that it has night vision, colored night vision, and we will be taking a look at that if that works well or what. And it's PoE powered, meaning that the power will come from the cable connection, the network cable connection. Okay, so let's see what's inside the box. So let's have a look if we have here, and let's disable the background. So let's see what's inside the box. And I have looked several times now, so I will not be surprised what's inside the box, but let's see. So there's some paperwork, there's a manual, then there's a mounting sticker, which I think is very good. First plus, a mounting sticker, a warranty information, and some security sticker you can put up if you think this will scare a thief away. But then why not just buy the sticker? Okay, so we will keep these two. Then let's look inside the box itself. It's very nicely packaged styrofoam, so that's another plus. And let's get the camera out itself. There's also some additional content here. So there's some screws, and there's some IP68 mounting. We will get back to that. And there's a network cable. We will also get back to that. So very nice styrofoam. We'll not look at the box anymore. Then we have a very nicely packaged camera, extra protection. So let's look at the hardware itself for this camera. It's hard metal here, so it's well constructed. The SD card can be mounted from behind here. There's 3 lights here, looks very strong. And then the mounting mechanism itself looks very good. So for example, I will be mounting under the roof like this, so it's still level, even though the roof is not. And you just put it in the position you want, and then you tighten this screw, and then that's it. Very good. Good mount. Okay. So let's have a look at some of the not so positive. So the IP68 rating. Well, this one is exposed to the elements. It should have had a cap like the reset button on this, but it does not. Or another possibility is not have this cable at all. So remember, this is PoE powered. You don't need this. So if somebody does not have PoE, then you could actually just make this as a passive injector instead, and then don't have this at all. And I also think the reset button should also be excluded, and you should have some other way to reset it than actually having a push button. I would like to see it with just this cable on here. That would have been nicer. Okay, while we are at IP68 waterproofing, this is a similar mistake we have seen from other vendors. If we look here, then this is actually not the included cable because I destroyed the included cable, but it looks very similar. So the problem is that you cannot actually use the included cable for this option, because you cannot push it in here, or you have to make it very flat. So okay, you get it mounted, but then this is supposed to sit tight around here, but it's too big. So I destroyed the included cable in my first attempt, but it has 2 wires, so I actually made it so it can be here, mounted here, and well, then you can actually mount it. See if I can find everything. So we have the O-ring here, mount it here, screw it in, put this in here, and then of course I forgot to put this in place, and then you just tighten that. That's great. We will just power it on while we wait. So now it's turning on because I have PoE power here. So I don't like, as I said, that this is not long enough. So this is not long enough for their own cable. So rather than sending another cable, including another cable, I would suggest to change this mount. I was actually considering making a 3D print to fix this issue, and now I actually cannot remove this without destroying it. Oh wait, yes I can. Good. So the issue here is I have been using the same mount from for another manufacturer, and I could not mount this. You see, this cannot be there at all. So this connector has been destroyed. Actually, only 3 out of the 8 connectors are working in this. Quite annoying. I had to replace it, and so I did. Okay, so hopefully the camera is up and running now. So let's have a look at the application. So let's see. We have the application right here. Let's see if we can get this working. So for first time use, we first need to register. Let's see, then we have to supply the country, Denmark, and it doesn't continue. I have to press next up here. Yes. Then we have to write email. Let's do that. Let's see if that works. Okay, then it will send me an email to activate it. And it did just that right now. I cannot copy the email into the program, unfortunately, but I can type it in right there. And then I have to pick a password. So why does it hide this one? Okay, now it hides both of them. Okay, good. So then we have registered it. Then I need to type in the region once again. Okay, let's type that in. And let's log in. So as you see, I have tried this before, and there was a little left over that, but let's add the camera, see if we can do this. So let's see if we can scan the included code. See if that works. I'm a little interested. Can it? Oh yes, it could. So I'm using an Android emulator, so I didn't actually know if this would be working. So let's see if it will add. Yes, and this did not went so fast the first time where I did it before, but it went quite quick this time because it had already been online once. But now we are actually already up and running. Although it doesn't update the picture until I click here, so let's just do that. There we have it. So here me. Here's my setup. So it went quite well. I have a few complaints which I will write to the vendor where they can improve the user experience. But that's it for the basic setup. And what I will do now is install it. You will not see that. And then I will then we will go back and see how it works. So let's get back to that. But just one more thing I just want to complain about before we continue, and that's that blinking light here. It's quite annoying. It's good. I will be back when I have installed the camera. Hi. Hi. It's now 3 months later because there were some issues with the camera, specifically with time zones, which I think it was unfair to make a review based upon, because if time is not correct, everything is a mess up. So let's continue the review and take a look. So what has happened is, let me just disable the background there. So what has happened is that I have installed the camera up here outside, and we can just look on another picture I have here. So this is where I have installed the camera, and here is another camera we will compare it to. I have only one Ethernet connection to the two cameras, but I have made a passive splitter right here. And should you be interested in that, then I actually have made a video about that, so I will link to that in the description up there. But anyway, let's continue and see the camera. Just a moment. There we have it. So I have started up the application. The camera is installed, and this is what we see when we are logged in. We see the last picture from the last time I was in and looking at the camera. It's frozen in time, but let's continue. So, and sorry for the scale here. We could of course just make it a little bigger, but then we will lose a little of the bottom, but let's just do that, then it's a little easier to see. So we have the camera here, and if you click on that, then we go into the camera application. Oh, we're already in the camera application, but we're now seeing the current view of the camera, and you also see the time here, which is 2100 hours. And I have already set it up, but let's just go through the different settings there are. There's of course create a password. You can share a device either via QR code or an account invite. So QR code, that's where you have already the application installed and then scanning the QR code. And let's start by looking here now. So now it wants to show it like this. That's okay. So this is where we set up push notification, so you get a little alert whenever it detects something, but you can change that, the threshold of detection and such, but this is where you set it up, and you can set a limit how often it will send push notification, so you're not spammed too much. Let's look at event type here, and you can see I have selected humanoid detection, so it will only send an alert if it's detect a human and not a vehicle, because that would not make any sense in my case. It has also a few other detections, so let's just take them right here. So there's general motion detection, that's anything. There's vehicle detection. Intrusion detection, I think that's where you create an area, and if something goes inside that area, then that's detected. And you can also make a detection if something leaves the area, if something stays too long in the area, and if nothing happens in the area, so if nothing is detected. And again, entry-exit detection. But I have just selected AI detection and humanoid detection. Interesting. Humanoid, does it mean it detects yetis? I think it does. Okay. Let's continue here in our walkthrough here. Let's just get through. So let's see. Smart alerts, was that where I was? No, alarm type, light and siren. So here you can also make it blink with light. I'm not sure about that, but you can definitely use its speaker to make an alarm. I have not touched that because I don't want to make a mistake and alert the whole neighborhood. Let's see, intelligent algorithm. You know, I was using human detection. It says here, and it has the other types of detections which I have not used. And let's continue. Privacy mask, I have actually used that one. So let's see. If you look over here, then I have, can I move it? Well, I can make more. Let's just, we are seeing everything. So this is to mask out part of the picture. This is in this case, it's my neighbor's window I have masked out here. I'm not completely sure how I delete it again, but that's definitely a possibility. And time settings, this is where it has a major issue, and had a major issue. So when I first set it up, this time setting here, then it was on China time, so it was continually changing back 8 hours ahead, because China is 8 hours ahead. And that of course messed everything up. Then I could click synchronize, and then it went back and forth. So now it's kind of like working, but it cannot change to daylight savings by itself. And that's also partly why I have delayed the video so long. That's because I had to wait for the daylight time to change here in Europe. And unfortunately, it did not automatically change to daylight savings. But it is correct now after I click synchronized. So that's definitely a major minus, that you have to by yourself go in and synchronize every half a year when the daylight savings change, in case you live a place where there is daylight savings. Okay, so that was time settings, network settings. Let's just go through it. And that's nothing here because it doesn't have Wi-Fi. We are assuming that if it is a Wi-Fi camera, then we can change the settings here. And we have rotation mode. So that would make sense if we have rotated the entire camera. And unfortunately, it does not have real rotation. It only has flipping on the direction. It could be that I had actually mounted this on a wall or something and rotated the entire camera 90 degrees, but it does not have an option for that, only mirroring in different directions, sadly. And then we have recording, and there we have it, full motion recording, nice. So that's a good thing, that you can actually make two different triggers depending on what to record on, depending on whether it's motion or not. I'm not 100% sure. Let's see more. Then we have cloud storage, which I tried here, which we will look on afterwards. But let's just see. That's not transfer. Pending plan. I don't probably not have a pending plan, but it is using a plan now that will soon expire in 4 days, so I better get this video. And I also set the human detection, because that's the only thing I really want to take care of. And then we also have an option to transfer the device to another account within the application itself. I probably would like to have something where I just want to sell the device. I don't know, or maybe it's just enough to delete it. Okay, so that was a quick view of the settings. Let's just see what it actually can do. So we are in here, we see the current time, and let's first compare it to another camera. So there's actually a possibility to see the video feed through VLC. I will get to that later, but we have the same video feed here, so just to make it easier to see. Then we have the video feed here right now. Look at the time. And remember, right now we are just around what is it called, in the middle of the middle of the year. At least here now the sun is pretty standard. It's neither summer or winter. And here we have the other camera next to it. Just to compare, so this is a colored night vision camera, and this is really the big selling point. If we compare these two, then it's literally between night and day, the picture we see here. And yes, it is the same picture, you see it here, the same car. So we see this camera, which is a 5 megapixel camera. We can see the license plate here, no issue. This is a 8 megapixel camera, but megapixel doesn't matter if it's too dark to see anything. You really can't see anything at all. So that is definitely a big plus for this camera. But anyway, let's look at its different features when you look at we have playback here. So here I can choose between what is stored on the cloud and what is stored on the SD card. So we can see a little earlier today it did some recording. We can see the time up here. And let's see what's on the SD card. I have actually not tried that. So that's my wife. And when it does the detection, then it makes this green arrow around. So we can see what's happening. Let's just wait a little. I want to see it again. Now what? Takes a little while. There we go. Let's see if there's some green around humanoid detection. A little. It was probably a little hard to see on the screen, unfortunately, but it makes a green square around whatever it detects. So that's you have both local storage and cloud storage. Of course, if you do not pay for cloud storage, then then you only have the local storage. So that's it. And of course, you can click here to have the live view. I don't know. I would like to rotate the screen, but I actually don't know how I do it in this Android emulator. But anyway, you can rotate the screen and see it in full picture. Let's see, now I clicked. Nah, not much there. Okay, so that's basically it. And you see here, because I made the square before, then it's masking that out also in my recording. And these are the cloud plans, but these prices might change. Let's just move the window here so we can see. So price per year, yeah. It depends whether you think that's a good price or not. But compare that if you really need an extra copy of your data. So it's either this or have a complete recording setup. Or so if you have a few cameras, then it's cheap. If you have more cameras, then it's probably better to do the recording yourself. Yes. So that was a quick look at the application. So let's have a look at the things we are not told about. So here I have what is called a port scan of the camera itself. It tells me which network ports is open, and I was a little curious about that because I was only told about this application, the phone application, and I see these things are also open, so I'm a little confused about that. So especially this one. But I talked to the manufacturer, and let's have a look at. They sent me an app. Let's see if we can have everything in the window here, which I run in VMware because I don't trust them that much. So I have a virtual PC running this software in. So let's start it up. But it seems like a general good piece of software, although, and this is a reoccurring theme, which I will get back to, is that they very much like things in Chinese. So they have the Chinese time zone, which they had to fix. And they actually, when I first installed the application, then it was in Chinese. Then I had to get back to them and figure out how to get the English one. But let's switch to the Chinese here, to the English. And if we do, let's see, I need you. Can we see everything? No. Well, there's one called Search Once down here. And there we have the camera. We click on it, and then we can see, of course, its IP address, but I already knew that. And then it also have sub and mainstream. And if I click on that, then it tells me the URL I can use in the VLC viewer. And then I get the whole camera here. But, if you noticed one thing here that didn't pop up, was a question for username and password. And that's the same thing with the VLC setup. So with the competitor camera, we saw the URL for VLC includes the username and password. This one does not. You can view the camera feed without username and password. And I think we are now at the end of what we will call the product demonstration, and be starting on what I will call the review, because there is some serious security concerns I have about this camera. And let's start with this one. So this means that I assume that this camera works the same way for all cameras from this manufacturer, and that means that any camera from ZOSI is open to the local area network for viewing. Not only is it open, people are not even aware that this exists. So they're just using the application and not aware that they actually have a video and audio feed, both video and audio feed exported to the local network. And of course, if everything is great, then it's only themselves that can access the local network. But if their Wi-Fi is shared with guests, or it's part of a large corporation or anything, anyone that can have IP access to the camera can see the feed. And that's also my recommendation for any IP camera is that you only make it record non-sensitive data. I see here I'm showing you the outside of the house. I have no cameras inside of my house. I would never had that. Or okay, if I'm going on vacation, I might have a camera on my cat so I can see it's well fed and such. But other than that, I will never have a IP camera inside the house, because I simply do not trust them to keep things confidential. And we see here, without username and password, there does not even need to be a security hole here. It's just wide open. So that was my first security concern. The other security concern I have, if we go back, let's get back to the application itself. There we have it. So in the application itself, let's see, if we go to the account, if somebody else gets your username and password, you can think about it yourself. Anybody who gets this username and password by any means, if you chose the same password another place or whatever, you just shared it temporarily, then they can of course see the video feed. No surprise there. But you get no notification, no information that somebody else is watching the video stream. You have no way of knowing it. At least from what I have checked here, there's no way to see that somebody else is watching your camera, somebody else have the login to the same account. Furthermore, if I change the password, then they are not logged out. So yeah, so that's really bad. So if somebody gets your password, then you have no way of logging them out. The only thing you can do is create a completely separate account if you suspect this, and transfer your stuff to that. So let's just have some. I have some notes I just need to check. So let's see. Okay, and then I had my last criticism with the. But that's a general thing with all these apps. That is, there's most likely no end-to-end encryption of these stored videos. Again, I would recommend that you only record videos of stuff that's not confidential. So if they get hacked, or some sneaky viewer employee wants to look at stuff, then can most likely do that, because the things you have stored on the cloud is not encrypted. And when I'm watching this feed, it's actually going all the way to the internet and back again, if it's inside the application. And that's how you can watch these things while you're not at home. That's of course a very great thing, that I can watch this live feed when I'm not home. But not so great. Okay, let's see the things I wrote down, small notes here. So I have something here. Let's see. We might as well do it all and get it over with. So let's see. So quick reminder. So we went through the hardware, And the first thing I noticed there was a very nice sticker for mounting the camera. That was really great. And let's just have a look at it. Oh, then I can start my, just a moment. There we have it. So this sticker here, I think that was very nice. I like to see that from many other manufacturers. Very, very nice. And the styrofoam itself and the construction. So in general, the camera is very, very well made. It's from the same manufacturer or plant, or what should we call it, that many other manufacturers use. And it's very good. I had some criticism with the IP rating that there were it it didn't fit and close so well, and in general the software is good, but these security issues here are really concerning. It seems like there's no one thinks about security when you just leave an IP camera completely open. So I'm not very happy about that. So these are the suggestions I will send to the manufacturer. That is, just remove the DC jack. There's no point of having it. You can just use a PoE injector. And then make this lid longer so it can actually waterproof it. And remove the network LED because it's just annoying. But not only is it annoying, it's also actually a security concern, because if you were planning on hiding the camera, then this green light is blinking, and that's not so fantastic. And of course, this reset button, it might as well be where the SD card is, because there's a lid, watertight lid where the SD card is. Just have the reset button the same place, and then you only have a single network female jack with a nice waterproof seal. Much easier. So that's my suggestions on the hardware side. On the software side, there were some small issues, minor issue, that when you click a country, then it didn't continue automatically. That's a minor issue. That's just a suggestion, and remember it when you continue. But the really big thing is the security related issue. There was also the one you saw where it did not hide my password when I typed it in. It's not that big an issue, but still it seems very unprofessional. So indeed, my suggestion to ZOSI, the manufacturer here, is that they should hire a EU-based company to improve this user experience. I didn't even write the time down. That's the really big issue, that the daylight time savings time does not change automatically. And not only does it not change automatically, there's a bigger issue, because if we go back here, then this time is burned into every video recording, the time, but it does not include the time zone. So what happens when the time zone changes and the user, of course, do not remember to synchronize the time again? Well, then the time is wrong. Then these recordings might later be used as evidence with the wrong time, where it might be 1 hour off in either direction. I think that's really terrible. So they should fix this time issue, and they should include the time zone here in the timestamp. So even if something fails with this, then it still is working. So I have to write down as a separate thing. And so they should definitely hire someone to improve the customer experience, because there were these issues where it's still kind of like China-fied this application, and they need to really test it instead of relying on YouTubers like me to fix this issue here. And for the security issues, they should hire a consultant to actually check this, not only the camera itself, but also the cloud services based upon that. Because I only touch one port. I only touch this one, but see, there's also all these other ports. What kind of security issues might they have? So in my opinion, what they should do is that if people use the application, then there should be no ports open unless people actively choose to have these port opens, and it should require a password, and preferably they should also require an IP filter. That would be much greater. So I think that's really a big issue, that they leave this port open without telling people it. So they don't even know that this camera is exporting a video and audio feed to the entire network. So my conclusion is, and these are my quick notes here. So my conclusion is that this is a good hardware, but the user experience and the security is not good. It has become better, this user experience, with the help of me, and that's why we are 3 months later, because I complained about these things, and usually I don't wait 3 months. It's for a manufacturer to improve these things, but when we are talking about time, which messed up everything, then it was better to wait this. And of course, it became significantly better, and this security is not good. So for now, I suggest that you purchase from a better vendor. I don't know who that might be, but I'm just saying this is not. These are really issues. So, so to recap about this Chinafication, that is, when I first installed the application, scanning the QR code, which was included in the manual. Let's see if I can find it. Just a moment. Yes. So when I first scanned this QR code in the manual, then I got to the Chinese app, and I thought maybe there's only is a Chinese app, and it was only because I asked the manufacturer, maybe this is an issue. They fixed the issue. Of course, that's not an issue anymore. But why is it me that needs to test this? And the time zone, which was really a big issue. And then this Windows app you saw before, it was default in Chinese, but that should be easy to fix. Just make it default in English. Or make 2 apps, one for English, one for Chinese. So now we are at the end of my things here, and that is me as a YouTuber. I feel I spent way too much time on this. So I think going forward, I think I will only have 4 different types of things to do in these kind of videos, or I will tell you about that. So in going forward, when I make a review, I will pay for the stuff myself. That means I will only buy stuff that I actually think is good, because nobody is really going to watch a review about a bad product unless it's really funny. So continuing forward, reviews will be for stuff I pay myself. There's no conflict of interest at all. What I can also do, if people pay me, I can give them user experience feedback. But as soon as I do that, then I cannot make a review of the product. So if somebody wants to hire me to give this user experience feedback, then please contact me. But then it's a paid service, and it's not cheap because it's a Danish salary. So we are paid a decent wage here in Denmark. Then, and sorry for my spelling, this is just my quick notes. Then there's the advertising. If people want to send a demo product and do advertisement, then it's something completely different. Then you're making advertisement. But I think I will not do that at all continuing forward, because I think it's stupid, because either I'm going to advertise for something I know nothing about, or then I'm going to advertise something where it will be kind of like a recommendation. So I would say the only few exceptions for this is probably the products I use myself, which I might do some advertisement about. So we will get that to in another video if it's really good products. But then it's the other way around. I'm advertising them because I think they are good, not because I need some money. And then the last type you have is where you have a giveaway promotion and such. And I think that quickly also becomes a recommendation for me. So that's my take on all this YouTube influencer stuff. I think it's too muddy, where as soon as people give a product, then there's payment involved. People want to give a nice review even though it's a crappy product, or then they will give no review at all. I know another YouTuber who has this strategy. So he gets the product, and if it's a crappy product, then he just returns it. And of course you can do that, but then you get a skewed picture of the world, don't you? Because you should really, if it's really a review, then you should also tell about the bad products. Yeah. So that's it for me this time. Hope you liked my my review. It's probably not what the manufacturer wanted. They probably wanted something where they could recommend this video. I would say it's very interesting with these night colored night cameras. They are really, really good. Look at this. You can see nothing on the other camera. And this camera, it's almost like daylight, right? Very good. But I think I will look into a night vision camera from another manufacturer, and I will probably uninstall this camera when I'm finished here. So, thank you for watching. Bye for now. I sent the manufacturer a summary of this video, including my suggestion to improve it, and they have forwarded it to their engineers, but they have requested me to not publish this review. I think that's very Chinese of them, and that's not how reviews work. So here it is anyway. Thanks for watching. Here's the camera.